Thank you. Come in.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Christina.
Hi, Christina. I'm Cecily.
Hi, nice to meet you. Cecily, is that what you prefer to go by?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hi. So what brings you in here today?
Well, I've been sort of, I don't know. Excuse me, I just ate something.
No, that's fine.
I've been sort of just feeling kind of tired and just like I don't know, just kind of not like quite myself, and just, you know, having these sort of dark moods that come and go, and I mean, not really suicidal, but just kind of, I don't know, just not quite myself. So I just wanted to come in.
Okay.
Just sort of a little sad. I don't know.
Okay. So how long has that been going on? Is there a change that happened, or do you just kind of notice it steadily progressing over the past weeks, months?
Well, I think it's been going on for about 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything happened 3 months ago that may have changed, or just kind of noticed?
Well, I moved to Seattle about 4 months ago.
Okay.
And, yeah, I started a new job about 4 months ago.
Okay.
And then about 3 months ago it started happening.
Where did you live before Seattle?
Chicago.
Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what brought you out to Seattle?
Well, excuse me, I've always wanted to, I've always been interested in this part of the world.
Okay.
And I saw a job advertised, so I applied for it, and I got it. So I came.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What was the job?
Working in the admissions office at Antioch University.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how's that going? How are you liking that?
It's good. It's
Okay.
good. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
People, it's good. Yeah.
It seemed like is this similar to a job you've done before, or is this something completely new?
Yes, it's similar to something I've done before. I was at a small college in Chicago in the admissions office doing admin work. Yeah.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about yourself. You know, where you live. You know, who your support systems are. Just, you know, who you are.
Who I am.
I know it's kind of a hard question, but it's kind of letting you take the lead.
Well, I live in Magnolia.
Okay.
Which is nice neighborhood. And you know, I found that apartment when I first got out here. What else did you want to know?
Roommate, significant other, family, friends.
Well, I live alone.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved out here by myself, so I don't really have any friends out here, and yeah, I don't really know anybody. So that's what's going on right now. I don't have a
Support.
significant other or whatever. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for coming in today, what were you looking to get out of the session? Were you looking? What was your thoughts for calling to make the appointment?
Well, like I said, I've just been feeling sort of tired and sad and not like myself.
Okay.
And so I've been concerned about that. I haven't been sleeping very well. And I just haven't been doing the things that I usually like to do.
What do you normally like to do that you don't find yourself doing currently?
Well, I used to exercise pretty regularly. I'm not doing that. And just kind of feeling, you know, kind of achy, but not really sick.
Okay.
But like my head aches sometimes, but I don't really have a headache, stuff like that.
Okay. Do you ever feel like you're, under a lot of stress at work, or maybe stress at home that may be causing some of this, or is just...
I'm not really under stress at work.
Okay. But any other stress maybe at home?
Well, it's just me at home.
Okay.
So, no.
Or, maybe a family, maybe back home that you are still in connection with that, something... No? Okay. So, what do you think will take you to get back to doing the exercise, exercising and getting out and being active that you previously enjoyed? Is it trying to find more energy again?
Well, yeah, I don't have the energy right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you think? So you said it started about 3 months ago. Was there any event, anything that happened? Did we see it slowly start to your energy decrease, or was it dramatic? You woke up one morning and just had no energy. You just kind of not really.
I just started noticing it about 3 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Is there anything that makes is there anything that helps that you notice that maybe one day you may have more energy than the next day? If you get maybe more rest, does it seem to help? Or if you take a day off from work, does that tend to help at all?
Well, I haven't really taken any days off because I'm pretty new.
Okay.
And it just seems like, I come home and I've been taking these naps in the afternoon, like about 2 hours.
Okay.
And, that just seems unusual to me because I would usually be doing something like riding my bike or going for a walk or something like that, but I haven't really been doing that since I've been here, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you, as you said, you don't really have any friends or out here. Have you connected with any of your friends at work, or done any going out with them or meeting them for lunch, lunch at work, or maybe after work, or kind of connected here in the Seattle area at all?
No, not really.
Okay.
I haven't really gotten to know the people at work yet very much. When I first started work, they had this thing for the new employees where they took us on a tour around the city and showed us the different neighborhoods and sort of a little bit of the history and how the city's laid out and stuff like that. And so those people were all new too, and we were given a contact sheet, during that. But none of those people are in my department, so I haven't really seen them.
Okay.
Since I started. Yeah.
Have you connected? Magnolia's been a busy area. Have you connected? And you said you biked any of the cycle groups in the area. When you first got here.
I haven't really done any cycling since I've been here.
Okay.
So I just haven't really had
the energy
to do it. So yeah.
Okay. Anything else that going on that could be helpful for me to know?
Like what?
Any other? You said other new job. Any other changes that happened maybe that brought you to Seattle?
Not really. I mean,
What was your? Tell me a little bit about your life back in Chicago before you moved out here to Seattle. How was what were you doing out there? Were you
Well, I lived on the north side of Chicago,
Okay.
and I worked at a small college downtown, and I worked longer hours there. I had a couple of friends who I would see, I don't know, once a month, maybe twice a month. And sometimes we would bike together. I did some long walks in the park there in Chicago along the lake. Saw my parents not very often, maybe once a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you in contact with your friends that you in Chicago with that you moved out at all?
A little bit. Okay. A little bit. I mean, they have families. I don't see them that much. I didn't see them that much anyway, but so occasionally.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe once every 3 weeks or something.
Okay. And maybe, so you moved out here by yourself, started a new job, pretty big college, a little bit probably busier than what you're used to. You kind of work in the 8 to 5 hours and then going home, or?
It's actually about the same size as the other college I worked at, and I work shorter hours. I'm usually done by about 2:30.
Okay.
So I have more time.
Okay. Give me a minute here.
Sure.
Would it be helpful if you found maybe like a group of people with similar interests to maybe start a walking group in the area, maybe after work or in the morning, or is it still that lack of energy that's challenging for you?
Well, I mean, the lack of energy is a real concern for me because it's really it's different than what I'm used to. I suppose if I could find a group that did something like that, I mean, maybe that would be interesting. I mean, I'm kind of shy, so I don't know. I'm not very good at like initiating stuff. I think that like it's been hard out here because it sort of reminds me, I'm sort of feeling like how I used to feel when I was a kid, where I was like sitting in the lunchroom all alone, I kind of feel a little bit like that. Right now.
Yeah, it's hard to move to a new place and trying to make those new connections and trying to find your place in this new environment, and if you meet great people but they're again not in your department, it can be sometimes challenging to find that that person that you mesh with, especially with people in your immediate department aren't quite in the same personality as you.
Well, we're not. I mean, they're. I'm the new one.
Yeah, so. That's always been there. Also, it's a challenging role to be. So tell me a little bit about yourself, like growing up. Any siblings?
I have a sister who's older, about 5 years older,
Okay.
and she is. She's a very successful lawyer. She lives in Chicago. She lives on the Gold Coast in a high-rise condominium. And growing up, she was always sort of the go-getter and got really good grades and was very involved and stuff. And I was kind of different, shyer, more withdrawn. My parents, I mean, they were loving, but my mother really struggled with alcohol for many years. And she eventually got into AA when I was in high school, I think. And she's doing okay now. But that was kind of rough growing up.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was just the four of us. Yeah.
So has she remained sober since high school, or is?
Yeah, she's been remaining sober, and she's sort of been working her program. She calls it her program.
Yeah.
So I think it's helped her. Yeah.
Can you tell me a little more what it was like with her when she was actively drinking as a child? I mean, that has to be very challenging.
Well, sometimes it was. I mean, sometimes I never knew how she was going to react. Sometimes she would be really, really angry, seemed to come out of nowhere. So it could be pretty frightening sometimes because, I always felt like I was doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And I would blame myself, because I figured it was my fault. She was the mother. But, so, until I was, so that went on until I was seemed like it went away, like around when I was about 13 or 14. Yeah. But from when I was like probably kindergarten up till then, it was pretty much like that, walking on pins and needles.
Oh, it's had to be really challenging for you.
It was hard. Yeah, it was hard.
Did you have anybody to talk with during that time at all? Your dad or an aunt or?
I was able to talk to my dad some, but he was And he cared, but he was really busy. He wasn't home a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Was he working?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And then you say older sister. Any other siblings, or just the two of you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And are you still in touch with your sister at all?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Some. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So your mom's fairly recovered. Have you ever thought about going to maybe like an Al-Anon meeting? Have you ever heard of Al-Anon?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Okay. Is that something you ever thought of maybe going to
Not really.
kind of move? Okay. So that's something we may want to think about talking later about.
Okay.
So about the energy.
Yeah.
Because that seems your biggest concern. And it seems just, you just seem...
I'm just feeling a little sad.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
And I mean, I've been sort of thinking about moving back to Chicago. Like maybe I made a mistake.
Coming out here.
Yeah.
So, you said the motivation to come out here was the job. You was offered a job, or was there another motivation that kind of, brought you out here? Was it something enticing of Seattle, or is it something you're trying to possibly maybe move away from Chicago from?
Like I said before, I've just always been sort of interested in this part of the country.
Okay.
So that's what really brought me out here, and I was able to get a job, so that's what brought me out here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I just never really felt like, Chicago was really...
the right fit for you, as we said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Since you moved out of Seattle, when you first came out, did you seem to have energy when you first got here? When you were first here that first month or so?
I did.
And then just kind of slowly lost some of that energy.
Yeah, the first month I was really busy because I was, I didn't have a lot of time before work started, so I was trying to find a place to live, and I was trying to figure out like furniture, and I had a lot that I had to get organized in a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I had no problem. I was busy and excited,
mm-hmm.
and and then after I sort of got into my routine, that's when I started to notice it. I got my apartment sort of set up good enough to live there, and then work started, and I got used to sort of where I was working and who I'm working with, and got into that, going to work, coming home, getting up, going to work, I got into that, and then I started to, I was aware that I need to, I want to, and I need to get the bike out and start biking, and it's like, okay, well, I'll do it tomorrow, and then I didn't, and then I didn't, and I didn't, and
mm-hmm.
Because I was so tired. So I was like, okay, this is not quite me. I'm not sure what's going on.
Okay. So it sounds to me, that you're just maybe suffering from like a little bit of maybe depression, that, you're just, the stress of moving, that you came and, just that energy and that adrenaline, so, exciting and moved, and then as things calm down, that, that it just, everything, the weight of moving maybe have kind of hit you a little bit. I've had that, in my life when, things are you go, 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 and you're great and you're running, and then all of a sudden things quiet down, and you're like, oh, wow, a lot has happened, and I haven't had a chance to, kind of adjust and process, and, that everything that happened that past month that kind of slowly starts to kind of settle in you a bit.
Down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of looking, wow, I've, made this big, almost cross-country trip and relocated and, got yourself settled, and you're kind of in this big whirlwind of getting ready to go, and you probably started the new job. The first kind of weeks was, any new job for anybody, let alone you move a job 5 miles versus, 1,000 miles is a lot of stress for any individual.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, as that kind of settles in, you're like kind of probably seeing like, you know, your family, you know, is away, your friends, and that challenge for anyone to make new connections is can be, again, challenging. And so what I think I would be probably, you know, for me would be, you know, trying to find, you know, if we don't have energy, somewhere where we can find connections for you with, you know, maybe somebody. I know it's been challenging for you, you know, before, that maybe we can find somewhere or something for you to have outside of work, some sort of outside, something that brings you light, you know, something that you may enjoy. So right now you don't have the energy, so, you know, going cycling 20 miles is probably not something we're going to jump on the bike and do, but maybe there's something smaller that we can, you know, find that you enjoy, maybe drawing or poetry or, you know, sitting out, you know, by the lake, you know, having some just me time, that just small little bits that maybe help. Just kind of give that, like I said, that deep sigh breath, and you're like, oh, okay, something to, you know, so we're not, you know, having that home work balance. Does that kind of connect at all, or?
Well, I'm not sure about the poetry.
I was throwing something out there.
And also, I feel like I've had maybe too much me time.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. I've really just had me time, except for when I'm at work, I think.
So okay, maybe finding something with a group was that something you'd be maybe possibly interested in trying?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah.
Other than any other, you know, other interests, maybe joining like a local yoga group or gardening. Magnolia's got a lot of like gardening groups or something.
I don't know. I'm not really a gardener, but you know, it would be nice to meet some people. Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be good to meet some people, because right now I don't really know anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the people at work in my department, they seem nice, but I don't really know a lot about them at this point.
Okay.
You know.
I ever thought maybe of asking one of them to lunch. We know what I know, a little awkward ladies to lunch, and kind of meeting them that way, or ask them for, you know, we'll go get a cup of coffee with me.
Maybe. I mean, there is somebody there who is, she's nice, and she seems to be sort of shy too.
Okay.
So that might be somebody that it would be okay to ask her if we're in a conversation or something like that. I could maybe ask her. I'm not used to doing that. Usually I wait for someone to ask me, you know, because it's just hard.
It's hard, yeah. It's that fear of like rejection, I think.
I guess.
Yeah. Is there, you know, in your apartment, any you know, neighbors that you met, any of the person who lives next door to you at all, or?
I met. There's two guys that live on either side of me, and I've met them when we're, you know, taking out our garbage or something like that. I mean, they're friendly, but you know, I didn't really have a sense of anything more than that, you know.
Okay.
Okay. And most of the other people in the building, I haven't really met yet. I hear people occasionally. It's kind of surprising how little we run into each other.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah.